uncomfortable, feeling nothing at all. Think it's time for a change. I've been afraid of nerves, figured they'd only hurt. I just need to have faith. Keep me from keeping me down. Even me out. Free me, so I'm not afraid. Gotta let it go. Let it flutter. Let it flutter. Gotta let it go. My ego can only bruise. It's nothing that I can't take. It's better than being numb, waiting for sleep to come, so I can dream about change. Gotta let it go. Let it go. Gotta let it go.
Hello, 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 good morning. Happy Saturday. It is Saturday. Let me just make sure. I don't know why I adjusted this mic level. Sweet. Yeah, happy Saturday. Oh, I was in such a rush. I never tuned this guitar. So that's where we'll start. How's everybody doing? September. It was cold last night. At least here it was like 45 degrees or something crazy. Something like that. Play some. I'm gonna use this today. We're gonna talk a little bit about what I do when I'm not streaming. Breathe me in and let me stay. Save my soul, don't make me wait. Hunter, I'm a killer, but I haven't any guns. Now I may be a sinner, but there's things that I've not done. Know that I'm a monster, and that's what I'll always be. It's a shame to think you would waste your life with me. Give a damn for anything that gave me more than hell. There ain't much on this whole world that I do very well. Sure, I have a purpose, but my mind's drawn a blank. Shame to think, give me one more single day. So breathe me in and let me stay. Save my soul, don't make me wait. My friends and I make fun of things that we don't understand. There's nothing short of pestilence within our fatal plans. Right at dusk could cost your life, pursue me if you dare. It's a shame to know I brought you into this, I swear. Breathe me in and let me stay. Save my soul, don't make me wait. Farther than your eyes can go, beyond the wind and sea. My dear ones may not know this, but I used to be set free. Silly to remember, 'cause I've been through death and hell. It's a shame to know that I'm as innocent as hell. So breathe me in and let me stay. Why do I suddenly not know the chords? Stay. soul, don't make me wait. Breathe me in and let me stay. Save my soul, don't make me wait. Sweet. Oh, good morning. The coffee's too hot to drink. Good way to start the day, right? So like I said, we're going to talk a little bit what I do when I'm not streaming, right? Because, I mean, very few people can actually just stream, right? It's not a career. So let me just pull up a new tab here. Let's start over. I've been trying to post more on Instagram, so we're just going to start. Oh, I don't know if this one's signed in. That's fine. Yikes. How's my Instagram not signed in? There we go. All right. So if this would load at all, that'd be sweet. My webcam would stop freaking out. That'd be cool too. I need to go to myself though, profile. So I'm trying to post more while I'm at stories. Obviously there's stuff. For those that don't know, I shoot video for news. So like yesterday, we were at a school that doesn't have any COVID cases, which was pretty sweet. So that's definitely a more fun thing to cover than, you know, obviously there's a lot of huge outbreaks. So yeah, we were at a school that doesn't have any cases. The other day we were at a school that did. It was a high school where one of the administrators tested positive. Obviously, casinos reopening, that's something we do. So, I mean, you get around, you get to see, like, everything. You know, there's a lot of opportunity. Here's one. You can actually see the camera. This was a school board meeting about reopening. That's kind of the theme lately. I don't know what this... Sometimes you just forget the stories. You cover so many things. Obviously, a lot of, you know, it's been kind of violent in some cities. Albany hasn't been too bad, but, you know, we do just film a lot of empty intersections a lot of times if we, you know, if it's after the time that the scene's actually been cleared. You just have to get a video of the location. So, a lot of street signs, for sure. I like this one. We were in a town where they have in construction waste landfill, and we were talking to the mayor at City Hall, which is what this building is, about that. I guess there was a huge misunderstanding between them and the DEC about who had to approve something. Shout out to the Capitol. We spent a lot of time down at the Capitol, New York Capitol. This could have been for anything, honestly. I don't know. It's hard to remember sometimes. New York Tough, that's across the street from the Capitol in the Empire Plaza. That's a huge office building, and they spell stuff out in that all the time. It's pretty cool. All sorts of stuff. I mean, like protests, plenty of protests. This was a while ago. This was, when was this? 34 weeks ago. Remember when everything was like normal? Yeah, January 14th, when you could just like go to meetings and stuff and hang out in large groups. I mean, that's what this was. This was something to do with limo safety. They were signing limo safety. There's my cat. Look at that, man. Crazy. So, I mean, it's a little bit of everything. It's, and yeah, every day is something different. So, you never really know what you're getting yourself into. We'll watch my actual reel here in a bit. We don't want to burn everything. We don't want to burn all our content right away, right? I really wish my camera would stop flashing. Maybe we'll just solve that today. That's not what I meant to look up. You can imagine what I typed, and I did not get the results that I was hoping. See, it's weird because I fixed the last time I had this problem. Like it used to be a lot worse. Let's see. There it goes again. Oh, here we go. Every time I look up one of these tutorials, there's always a slightly different answer. So this one, we're going to dig into our power and sleep settings. Additional power settings. Oh, we want high performance. Because we don't care. We're plugged into the wall. Let's use some power, right? I think that's the problem. People, from what I've been reading, it's that it's like a intermittent power problem. Like if your USB ports suddenly drop, I guess that'd be voltage. If they drop voltage, you don't get the amount of power you need. USB settings, selective suspend settings, disabled. Apply. Hopefully everything doesn't just stop working. All right. We'll try that. We'll see what that does. If it does nothing, at least we tried. Properties, disable. Did that step. Let's see. Oh, and you can do stuff with NVIDIA too. Nice. We're getting somewhere. I need the control panel. Having a new computer, I'll say it is cool. It definitely is pretty sweet, but like, dang, there's so many things that you gotta fix, like all the time. So I need to. What do I need to do? Select manage, select add. I need to add OBS to NVIDIA. My cat's just screaming outside. I might have to, I'll drag him in here. I don't use just OBS though. I use the Stream Elements version. So I wonder if that has a separate tab. I mean, it is still OBS. It's more of a plugin, I guess. Jesus, cat. I'm gonna have to dig for it. I don't know where it's saved though. Program files. It is a program. I don't even know where OBS is saved. I know this is gripping content. OBS Studio. Okay, it just goes in as a plugin. That's an uninstaller. Where's the actual program though? I don't understand. Whatever. We'll just add the regular OBS. I'd show you this, but I don't know like what's gonna pop up. All right, OBS. It's in there. Add program. Power management mode. Prefer maximum performance. Apply. All right, we'll see if that does anything. Best case, that it stops flickering the randomness on my webcam. Worst case, nothing changed. And that's okay. That's all right, whatever. We'll deal with it another time. But I feel like we're getting somewhere. We're definitely getting somewhere. Let's play something. That's what we do here. We run out of things to say, so we play a song. Works every time. Is that another flash? Please no. No, wait. Oh, it was Jarrett jumping in? I just saw things happening. There he is. What's up? Welcome. We're fixing the webcam again. I think we finally got there though. I think we're finally in a place where things are working. No more flat hat drink. All right. If you say so. What's up? How are you doing? Good morning. Happy Saturday. Why are we banning Stream Elements? Stream Elements has been behaving today. Coming out of my cage, not doing just fine. Gotta be down. So when it all started, there was another flash frame. What is this? What is this? We're not gonna let this one go. We're gonna fix this one for good this time. It might just be because I haven't restarted and it's still running, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know if there's even any settings in here. It's always something. You can't just... I don't know. OBS is hard because there's so many dang settings. I bet it's because none of that stuff applied because I'm still using the program. I don't know. Good morrow. I don't feel like playing this song anymore. Craziness. Hopefully you're having a chill morning. Yeah, nobody's showed up. We got no Bree. We got no Tracy. That German guy's probably eating dinner somewhere. You missed it when he showed up again. That creeper with the tentacles is pretty weird. Oh, that's not the song I thought it was. See if these chords are any good. Didn't it look easy? Sang to the sky unaware. Took 4 hours and just to count out the stars that were there. We'll get there. Sit in the end will sound like a choir. It feels like a friend. The brimstone in the fire. Didn't it look easy? Sang to the sky unaware. One more tear and I'll find God in the bottle. One more move south and I'll feel Satan's skin. So I'll just float in between and drag myself by. What do they mean by D sustained? Oh. No hope, what I'll find is a man at the center of my world. Statue I carve in the marbles, just one more chisel away. Just one more chisel away. Didn't it look easy to call out, is anyone there? Scan a page and just know that the answer is there. I heard a lot about all the truth that I found. I guess I'm just too blind, I couldn't read between the lines. Didn't look easy to call out for anyone's prayer. One more yelling, I'll be in the gutter. Every step's harder than the last till I falter. I'll just float in between, drag myself by. Oh, no hope, what I find is a man at the center of my world. He looks just like me, there's no gun hell in his eyes. The statue I carved, my marbles, just one more chisel away. Just one more chisel away. What's the point if we're all predisposed to some master controlling the strings? Every day's like low-hanging fruit when your arms stretch beyond what you see. I don't think that D chord's right. It's probably A. That would make more sense. All right, you asked the question, what do I do for work? I took a peek at Instagram earlier to show off some of the recent, because I shoot video for news. And if I can pull it up, we can watch the official demo reel of me. I gotta find, how do I go to my videos? Stand by. I gotta pull it up, and then we can watch it. All right, hold on. Give it a little audio. Oh, it's muted. So we're just gonna watch it first. And then we'll go through and I'll try to remember what all the stories are. It's pretty old at this point.
He's raced 48 times and even won the 10K in 1981. But this year's Turkey Trot is different. Pat lost his leg about 2 years ago after a medical issue caused him to lose circulation and get an infection.
They said we can save your life, but we can't save your leg.
With only seconds to spare.
You have a baby, you had 1 minute to grab important
Anything.
items. What did you grab?
Him. That's it. I didn't even have shoes on. Just him.
They sort all day and night. Then the carriers load up their carts and their trucks and
With
hit
fans,
the road
yeah.
before the sun even comes up.
Skiing powder is a little different than skiing a traditional groomed trail. First off, you won't rely on the edges of your skis as much. In fact, you won't be turning as much, but when you do turn, it tends to work the legs out a little bit more.
Hundreds of origami cranes now fly high above a hallway at
Sports with
Shaker High
fans.
School,
That's a pretty good name.
all in memory of a student who passed away on Monday. At the time, he was reading a book about a Japanese girl who was diagnosed with leukemia. There was a belief if you made 1,000 origami cranes, you'd be granted a wish.
The city's commissioner of general services tells me the milling is complete. But now they're working to reset some of the curbs before they can begin repaving.
And with
Some
all
good
these
stuff
heavy
in here.
piles, you want to make sure your package is wrapped well.
That's
Skis
FedEx
aren't
right
exactly
there.
like
Must
a
be.
crock pot where you could just set it, or in this case, get it and forget it. You got to give them a little bit of love in the beginning of the season, not only for performance,
No,
but
that was
also
a
for your
U.S.
safety.
Post Office.
Firefighters tell me he was literally within inches of his life. 6 inches of that semi-truck landed on the guardrail
remember when we
on
could stand close to
787,
people
creating a tiny safe space
Without masks
within
on,
Jelani's
it's almost
car.
weird looking at this stuff. Throwback, yeah. Throwback Saturday. Alright. So as soon as this is done, we're gonna go back through and see if I can remember any of these stories. These are all at least, over like a year old. This would have been during my first year and a half or so. I love this shot. there's your boat. Love that shot too. All right. And then it's trying to... All right. So the first one, obviously this was like, yeah, this is one of those, that boat messed up millions of dollars in train cargo. Actually, the bridge, they were running Amtrak over that bridge still. The, engineers showed up and decided that, hey, yeah, the bridge is fine. So they were still running trains over it while the boat was still there. So I'll start out. Obviously, if you live anywhere near upstate New York, you know about the Schoharie limo crash. And I want to know why this quality is so low. Scam track. It's rough. So yeah, the Schoharie limo crash. So I remember that day when we first heard about it. We had been told by the state police that there was only a few injuries at that point. That's all they would tell us. So we were there. We were live, obviously through the night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And then when we got done, nothing was really happening. So the reporter and I were like, we'll go home. They're not gonna pay us overtime. I guess if there's only a couple injuries. So we went to leave, and then assistant news director called me and was like, "You need to stay there until they tow that limo out of the woods." Because at first, let me see if. So you can see like kind of half of it. We could only see like the back window originally. And then you can see down here, that's I think the front of my car. So yeah, we were like way back, way back there. I was just there until 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning to get, the shot of the limo actually being pulled out. And this shot was on national news the next day. They wanted our video. All the other stations had left at that point. So the only video that I know of it actually being towed out of the woods is this shot. And I shot it like 2 years ago. We're coming up on that. It was like October, early October. In my head, it's the 10th, but that must be wrong. October 10th. It's like October 4th or something. I should know that day, but it's like the first week or so of October is when that happened. So we're coming up on 2 years. And I started working there in June 2018, and this was October 2018. So like I'd barely been there at all. But yeah, if you see this shot, that was me. It was on all the networks. I don't know if it aired on BBC, but they at least used it as like a thumbnail. So this is as my supervisor says, you basically in your lifetime you get like 3 of these. You get three shots in your life, or probably we'll go network, unless you work for the network, obviously. And he was like, "Oh, how does it feel to get 1 of your 3 out in your first couple months?" I was like, "Well, sets the bar kind of high, honestly, because yeah." And then there was something the year after that. I forget what it was. We shot something in October 2019 that CBS wanted, and then I think our internet at the station went out. So we never ended up sending it to him. I forget what it was. I have shot though for now I'm forgetting the station, WJLA, one of their investigative pieces. They need to do an interview with the lady up here, like a farm vet. So like I've shot for other stations occasionally, but mostly just for us. And every once in a while, something you do makes network, which is pretty sweet. Let's keep it rolling. So obviously that one, I mean, it's hard to forget. All right. I love this shot. You got the fire photographer, and then you rack the focus over to the fire. This was an apartment complex, and it makes an appearance later in this piece as well. One of the package segments. It was you can see it there. There's a gas pipe on the outside of the building. I guess what had happened is a piece of no, actually that's something else. I'm thinking of a different one. I forget. A lot of times here with these outside gas lines, it's like ice will build up on the roof and then fall and break these pipes, which is so stupid. You know, the way they're designed. But this couldn't have been that, because obviously it's not. The dude's in short sleeves, so it's not like ice season. But I don't know. I can't remember exactly why this one started. But yeah, it was gas, and because of the where the valve was buried, they had a hard time getting to this thing. So they controlled the whole fire, and this flame was burning. This was in the morning when we first got there. So, you know, the sun came up and this fire's still burning. Eventually they get underground, they find the pipe, and instead of turning the valve off, because I guess they couldn't find it at first, they just squished the pipe closed. And I guess it's easier to just smush the pipe and then get the fire out, turn off the gas, and then find the valve once the, you know, the emergency is done, so they can just replace the piece that they smushed. They do that with water mains too sometimes, the small ones. They'll just smush them until they can get everything shut off. Fun fact, in case you've never been to a water main break, that's what they do. JKB, have you ever been to any water main breaks, or do you guys not? Is that just like Department of General Services type stuff? Feels like we have breaks all the time here. Let's keep moving. All right, this one almost needs a disclaimer. This was a fake accident simulation at a high school where they took two like beat up cars and just smushed them together. They like bumped them together and did a fake accident to do firefighter training, basically, like, you know, teach all the new people, like, hey, this is how you cut up a car. This is how you extract people with, you know, if you have to break windows. And they got drama students to play the people in the accident. And obviously I know that because I shot it. But a lot of people that have seen this reel were like freaking out, like, oh my God, why do you have video of people injured in a car? And it's all fake. This whole sequence was fake. You know, I guess they're just really good actors. It's usually both. FD has to be there in case anything happens. That's, yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, just like how police show up to everything just in case. That makes sense. But yeah, this was a simulated firefighter training. You can tell too because there's like way too many firefighters and they're all from different places. But like, I don't even know whose ambulance this is. Community Emergency Corps? Like, who knows? This is like Boston Spa High School though. So it would have been like Malta, Boston Spa. There's a couple volunteer ones up there that I always forget the names of. Bout fire department's up there. So you can see, yeah, the dead giveaway should be the huge crowd of students in the background, but apparently that's not that's not good enough. Yeah, a lot of people have seen this and been like, what the heck? Especially, yeah, this shot right here. So this is all fake. This is not real. They're just students acting. So you can see, you know, they were practicing. Well, there's a lot more to this video, but they were, you know, cutting up these cars. They broke the windows. They took the roof off. You can see this car doesn't have a roof. They already cut it. You can see in the back where they'd broken the windows. And it was pretty impressive to see how they did it. And eventually they flew in a helicopter and landed in the school parking lot, and they did one fake medevac where they got the the student on the stretcher and then into the helicopter. They didn't actually take off though. Red turnout gear. You don't like that? This guy in the back. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. Again, they had like 3 or 4 or 5 different departments all training. So they all have different... It's a different look, I'll give them that. That's for sure. Alright, let's keep it going. This could be this could be anything, honestly. I don't know what this is. This is obviously Troy. You have Troy police car, evidence technician. Troy has various crime. I mean, any urban area. And this would have been the summer 2019, which actually wasn't so bad. This summer, getting pretty bad. Or this could have been like end of summer 2018, depending on when this video was actually shot. But, I mean, this could have been anything. This could have been a robbery. This could have been a stabbing, shooting, just shots fired. Obviously, you gotta get the shot of the police tape. House fire in Niskuna or Schenectady. It depends if we can get a clean shot of a truck. This is probably Schenectady. But I mean, it's pretty standard. Obviously, ladder is up there spraying water on some house so you can't really see. A lot of these fires, especially in the winter, that guy's got short sleeves on, so it's not that cold yet. I worked mornings for a long time. Not a long time. It was almost a year. It was like November to, I guess, August. Yeah, 2018, November into... I've worked so many shifts over a short period of time, so it's hard to keep track. But yeah, a lot of times when it starts getting cold, like it is now, I mean, like last night we hit a low of, I think we hit 44. So when it starts getting down there, people start turning heaters on, and they start burning their houses down, unfortunately. So we cover a lot of early morning fires, and this would have been one of them. That obviously that gets harder once it's cold because no one wants to be out in the cold, and the hoses are freezing and there's water everywhere and it's all just ice. But this obviously nothing's frozen in this one. Nice shimmering water. But it is a real problem that they run into, and we always ask them, at these fires, like, what was the hardest thing you ran into? That's one of the like standard news questions. Is like, did you run into any injuries to, residents or crew? And then you always have to ask, was there any problems with water? Because some of these remote areas, getting water is an issue. This was in Schenectady though, so there's hydrants. So unless the hydrants are not working, they're usually fine. And then once it gets cold, either when it's cold or really hot, that can be an issue where either guys are getting fatigued because they're sweating so much, or it's so cold that everything's frozen. So it just depends on the weather. But this looks like it would have been, maybe like because I started just after Thanksgiving, so it would have been pretty chilly. So this is probably in the spring sometime where it was warming up. Let's see what we got next. Where are we going? Okay, so I remember this one specifically because we weren't sent to cover this. We were coming back from Albany towards Schenectady. And I remember we were on 90 West, headed towards Schenectady. And I looked over, and there was a hotel in the way. Across the street from this is a hotel, and then the highway. And I could see this column of smoke, and like once you've been to a bunch of fires, you can kind of tell the difference between like a fire that's supposed to be there and a fire that's not. And this was like pretty dark, it was pretty dark, and it was in a weird spot. Like it was definitely either at the hotel or like in the vicinity. So I was in a separate car as a reporter, and I, they're all Bluetooth. So I hit the, call Leanne, and I was like, hey, that doesn't look like it should be there, that smoke. And she's like, yeah, you're right. And we didn't have anything else to do, so we pulled off the highway and got into the parking lot, and we stumbled across this car was just on fire. The fire department obviously beat us there. By the time we got there, the smoke had come down quite a bit. And yeah, they were just putting this car out. I guess what had happened is the guy who was driving it, we got to interview him. This was in the parking lot of a Dunkin' Donuts. And we talked to him, and he was like, yeah, I went in for my coffee, and then I turned around, and my car was on fire, like just full fire. I don't know if we ever found out what happened. But, I mean, you can see, I mean, the whole bottom of the car is just fire. And yeah, we just stumbled across this one, which is kind of rare because, I mean, we cover a decent sized area. So, I mean, we miss stuff, or, you know, it takes a while to get to places. But yeah, we just drove by this one. Which was pretty crazy. Good times. I just want to make sure this is still... How do I go to my own channel? There we go. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is in... It's crazy. All this time, you think, how many things do you go to in a year? It's insane. But you still remember this stuff. This was in Saratoga. Saratoga City Hall caught on fire. I remember we were... whoops, let me back up. You can actually see... So that's the building on the left. We were out covering storm damage because pretty bad thunderstorms had rolled through. And we were probably picking up gas in like Ballston Spa or something. And just about ready to start heading back south towards the station. And, you know, tell that, you know, just find some kind of storm damage. When all of a sudden we get a call that Saratoga City Hall had been struck by lightning and the third floor was on fire. So we rushed up there, and you can see this is Broadway, and I forget what the cross street is in Saratoga. But yeah, the third floor had gone up, really old building, all wood and brick. So it burned pretty bad. Inside, you can't really tell on the outside, and that building is still closed. They're still working on it. They have a temporary city hall, like in a gymnasium. I think it was like a community center. Yeah, that was crazy. That was one of the first shifts I was working nights. So I was still trying to get used to that. And this would have been like 2018 sometime. And then this shot where the dude, like, with all the lights, looks over the shoulder. I think this is the thumbnail that I used because it was cool. And yeah, Saratoga. All right, JKB, you were asking about the boats. So this is a crazy story. This would have been, I think, January 2019 or February. And you can see, obviously, there's a lot of ice in the river. This is the Hudson in Albany. There was a lot of ice that had built up. And then as it was warming, we had definitely a weird winter where the ice, you know, it would freeze and then melt and freeze and melt. Every once in a while, that obviously caused a lot of problems because you end up with all the ice in the river. Someone, I'm trying to remember the timeline here. It would have been very early in the morning. I was still on mornings at this point. We were at a shots fired incident in Schenectady at the time. And we had heard reports that a single boat, was loose on the Hudson River because of the ice. So we were like, oh, it's one boat, whatever. And then we keep getting updates from like state police and Coast Guard. Hey, there's 3 boats. Oh, there's 5 boats. And eventually it ended up there was like a dozen boats because once one boat gets loose, it starts running into things and it knocked more boats loose. So that brings us to here. I remember I was in Schenectady. I had drove all the way to Troy like 30 minutes. 30, yeah, about 30 minutes to see where these boats are. And the boats, obviously, they'd all gone. They were all downriver at that point. So I'm driving down the highway to try and catch up with these boats. And eventually I end up in Albany, where I caught these two. The one in the front, just a barge, some kind of, who knows, some kind of barge. And then this one in the back is the Captain CP something. CP. We'll see the name once we get close. I forget the name. But it's like a lunch cruise thing in Troy. But I guess what had happened is this is the boat that I guess started it, where like the ice had broken its lines. So it got free and then bumped into more boats. And eventually you end up down here in Albany. So the problem here is there's a rail bridge that lifts. Or no, it's pivots. I think it's a pivot. We'll see. It's one or the other. It might swing. It might be a swing bridge. So most boats, like this barge, can go right under it. That's not a big deal. But for something like the JP whatever, it might be. It's just Captain JP. We'll see. We'll see the name. But it's too tall, so it would have needed the bridge to be swung. But obviously the bridge wasn't swung because these boats are just free. No one told them to open the bridge, and even if they did open the bridge, like the chances that it just missed or hit the hit one of the piers is way higher. So Captain JP3, there it is, right on the front. And you can see like tons of ice, and like there's one of the lines in the front just totally snapped. And eventually it just buried itself right in the bridge. So that's an Amtrak. Amtrak used that. There's some freight that'll go from there. That's if you're trying to go from Albany through Rensselaer and then down into New York City, would be that bridge going south. So yeah, the barge cleared no problem. A couple other barges. Eventually the Coast Guard had to come up all the way from New York City and just start tying these barges off. They would, they'd catch one and tie it somewhere, catch the next one, tie it somewhere. That was a long day for them. But this one got stuck, so they had to basically just wait for the ice to clear, let all the ice go south, and then eventually they were able to, get boats in the vicinity that could tie this one off and then get the bridge open so they could just get it out of there. It's fixed now. You can go, take cruises on it again. Go eat lunch. All right, this was there's so many stories in this. This was a bowling alley fire in Lansingburg. And this one was crazy too. This was one of those when you can see smoke and you're like, that shouldn't be there. I was in Albany at the time, which is south of Troy. Not too far, 20 minutes. And we were going to fly our drone at Tulip Fest. But we got reports that the bowling alley in Troy was on fire. And when we got on the highway going north towards Troy, we could see a huge column of smoke. And we get there. This was the day after, obviously, because it's not burning currently. And I mean, gone, total loss, completely lost. And you can see they did a great job saving the buildings on either side, honestly, which is pretty impressive. They were able to salvage both of those buildings. They're both still open. On one side is a locksmith, and the other side's a furniture store. And they saved them both with minimal damage. I know the dude on the right, the locksmith, it was downwind, so they had a lot more damage. And the insurance, as far as I know, the insurance claims are still up in the air. Last time I checked, so who knows. We were trying to find the owner of this place forever, and he never turned up. This shot, yeah, there's like one just intact bowling ball just in the rubble, and I think that's a pretty crazy shot. All right, this it looks like a protest until you realize it's a bunch of kids. This was like a culture day. So they all the kids got out with flags and did a lap around the block. Nothing crazy there. Logsmith, what is that? Would you just take wood for gold? This probably would have been like a Veterans Day or Memorial Day, I'm not sure. Depends what this statue's for. Might have been for Vietnam. But yeah, I mean, you got the flower with the note on some guy's name. Just this memorial is super nice. I mean, very, very well maintained in Albany. This must have been like a veterans probably Memorial Day, because this Veterans Day is for people that are living. Something like that. Or maybe this was like what's this? You can read this. It says Omaha Beach, so maybe this was like a World War II, like D-Day memorial. Hard to say. The horse track. Anyone that's been to Saratoga knows that horse racing owns that whole place. I have definitely more video of actual horse racing. This would have been the warm-up track, the Omaha track. That's Oklahoma. Is that what it's called? Oklahoma? It's named after a state. Omaha's not a state. That's a city. The Oklahoma. That's the name of the track, the practice track. So that brings us into the sports that I've shot. This was a charity hockey game. It was firefighters versus firefighters. That's why it says heroes on there. Yeah, it was two like rival fire departments. And this guy is the guy, one of the organizers, and his team got destroyed. I think it was like 7-0, which for a charity organization, that hurts. They were raising money because one of the firefighters, like houses burned down, or something. It was either that or he had some kind of illness. That part I don't remember, but I remember this rink it's adjacent to the Albany International Airport, and it's just like, you can tell it used to be some kind of hangar, and now it's an ice rink. But this was cool. Yep, just a bunch of firefighters. Valley Cats, the feeder team for the Astros. This would have been, I don't know what game. This could have been any game, but this dude threw like 8 or 9 strikeouts. So this was one of those. This is high school football. We shoot a lot of high school football. As you can see, these guys are Saratoga Blue Streaks, I think they are. Blue something. Little run play. Shooting high school football is fun just because, like, you can actually tell what's going on. It's slow enough, but I mean, some of these schools around here are so good. And I love this shot because this is the quarterback. He runs for it and just levels this kid, stares him down, and he's like, yeah, whatever. Easy. Too easy. He did that a couple times. So now we're going to get into the package segment. So I'm going to let these play. Well, I'll explain it first, then I'll let it play. So this was Troy Turkey Trot is a 5K race. And there's one dude who's been there forever. He's done, tons of these, but I guess he, I forget how he got injured, but he lost a leg, which I just can't remember. Maybe she'll say it in the package, but it was pretty much because he lost a leg, he couldn't run it anymore. So they let him bike it in like a sit-down bike thing. So he had an award. He'd won in the past, and like this trophy, you can see his name shows up on there. I don't know if you'll see it in this little segment, but yeah. So he'd won a couple times, and had run it forever, and he was bummed out that like he couldn't do it anymore. But they found a way to make it work. So we'll let that one play out.
raced 48 times and even won the 10K in 1981. But this year's Turkey Trot is different. Pat lost his leg about 2 years ago after a medical issue caused him to lose circulation and get an infection.
They said we can save your life, but we can't save your leg.
All right, so he did explain it was a medical thing. Crazy. Yeah, and he was so cool because he's got that like cool bike thing that he pedals with his hands, so he can pedal it that way. And then yeah, he did he basically led the race. He was like the lead guy. The next one,
We can't save your leg.
this is that apartment again, so cell phone video from one of the families. And then we interviewed one of the residents who got out. I don't think a lot of times these aren't fatal. They look really bad, but like people get out, you wake up your neighbors. And
With only seconds to spare,
You have a baby, you had 1 minute to grab important
Anything.
items. What did you grab?
Him. That's it. I didn't even have shoes on. Just him.
They
pretty powerful. I mean, it's always when a parent is just like, I didn't grab, she straight up says like, I didn't grab anything. I was just like, oh, fire, grab the kid,
Even
get the
have
kid out
shoes
of
on.
there. Yeah, she had like flip flops on. She didn't even have shoes. It was pretty wet out. I think it's like coming back slowly. It got pretty gross that day, like rain and stuff. And I mean, you got all the flashing lights, and it's just a pretty powerful scene. The
Just
next one,
They-
holiday season. This would have been close to Christmas probably, and obviously mail people's packages. This would have been the U.S. Post Office in either Albany or Schenectady. One of them. There's a bunch. I can't remember which one. This probably Albany. No, it would have been Schenectady. Just not the one. That's what it was. It was Schenectady, but not the one that my mail came from. Because they were like, oh, what's your zip code? And I told them, it's like, oh, that's the other one. Back when I lived down in that area. So yeah, we were just covering like the behind the scenes of the post office, basically.
sort all day and night. Then the carriers load up their carts and their trucks.
And this was
and
at,
hit the
I mean,
road
clearly
before
like
the
6
sun even
a.m.
comes up.
This was like
Skiing
right
powder
before
is
they
a
all
little
went out. So yeah, it was cool that they let us back there and like got to kind of hang out. We didn't get to talk to these guys too much because obviously they're very busy. Meanwhile, some people forget their kids in their cars. Yeah, I mean, there's two types of parents really, I guess. If you leave your kid in a car, that's like, what are you doing? How did you just forget? That reminds me, I saw body camera video yesterday where this, police officer walking through a parking lot, whatever, sees a dog in a car, whips the baton out and just smashes the window. Just bam, broken glass. And they even say, like, they're on their radio and they're like, the glass is broken, whatever. And they pull this tiny puppy out, tiny little dog, tiny. It's like, who would leave that in a car? And if you're going to leave it in the car, why'd you even bring it out with you in the first place? I mean, it's hard to tell what store, but it looks like a Walmart parking lot. So you can assume what you want from that.
And their trucks.
Let's get
and
to the
hit
next
road
one. Next one
before
was
the sun
ski
even comes
report.
up.
I know that. So we haven't been shooting these like at all lately. I guess we just don't do it anymore. But this was basically, you'd go to a mountain and just like, it was a weekly like ski update. You would talk about different things. This one we were talking about powder and loose snow or whatever. And I just included it because it's got a lot of cool shots of people skiing. It's one thing to like film skiing. It's a whole nother thing to film while skiing.
Powder is a little
So,
different than
obviously
skiing
some
a
of these just
traditional groom
standing.
trail. First off, you won't rely
This one's
on
got
the
a little
edges of your
motion
skis
to
as
it.
much. In fact,
And then
you
in
won't
this
be
one, I was like
turning as
chasing the
much,
reporter,
but when
so that's
you
the
do turn,
reporter
it
right
tends
there.
to work the legs out a little bit more.
Hundreds of
All right, this one's cool. So our tripods have a yeah, live for ski. the original, the OG gamer tag. Our tripods have a cool feature where the center column, to make it taller, is a pneumatic cylinder, basically. So if you unlock it, and then you can grip the part that goes up and slowly release it, it'll rise really slowly. Otherwise, it just kind of shoots up and gets taller. But if you control how it goes up, you can get this kind of like almost, it's not quite a jib, I guess you'd just call it a pedestal shot. So there was all these paper cranes on the ceiling, and I figured, I'll just rise the camera up into the cranes. It has a couple cool rack focuses in it, just a lot of nice artsy things. Basically, she explains it in this segment, but kid, I forget which school this is, but had passed away from leukemia, it must be, because she mentioned that there's a book, I guess, where there was a girl who was very sick, and it was like, if you have 1,000 paper cranes, you'll get your wish granted, or she explains it in this segment. But I picked this mostly, one, a powerful story, and two, it's just good imagery. They did a good job of putting all these up in all the different colors, and it was a cool display.
Hundreds of origami cranes now fly high above a hallway at Shaker High School, all in memory of a student who passed away on Monday. At the time, he was reading a book about a Japanese girl who was diagnosed with leukemia. There was a belief if you made 1,000 origami cranes, you'd be granted a wish.
That was basically, so she said everything I did. I remember. It's crazy. You remember these things, even though it's been years. That would have been, again, if that was with that reporter, I was still working mornings, which means that was either 2018 or early 2019. Okay, so now we move into the stand-ups section. So these are like whenever you put the reporter on camera, either in the middle of the story, at the top of the story, so like not live, but you're still recording it. So obviously we tied in a little drone video, and I remember this package because we wanted to do the whole package as if it was one continuous shot, sort of. So like every shot would transition into the next one, and you'll see that here. It starts off on the drone, and you'll see all this, but basically we took the drone shot, and then we faded in for me panning down from the sky down to her, and then we did a whip pan, a whip cut to another shot of where she is. So we're pointed one way down the street, whipped 180 degrees to another shot of her with the construction behind her, and that pretty straightforward. You just, as long as you pan at the same speed or relatively close, you can just find where that matches, sort of, and just dissolve it. It's super easy effect, very effective if you're trying to either move somewhere in the same area quickly, and instead of just a hard cut, you can kind of motivate that. It's like, okay, we're panning to the left, so like it gives you a sense of space. It's like we know it's over to the left, but it's too far away to just pan normally, and you'll see that in this.
The city's commissioner of general services tells me the milling is complete, but now they're working to reset some of the curbs before they can begin repaving. And with
So really, you can, if you play it really slowly, you can see it. So obviously pan, there was this cone, like a construction barrel kind of thing, and you can see there's almost two. It's hard. If you had the actual video, you could see it way better, but you just whip hard enough that you never see it. And there's like,
but now they're working to reset
easy effect.
some of the curbs
Very effective.
before they can begin
This next one's
repaving.
back to the post office. I think we were just showing some of the mail that
With all
didn't
these
make
heavy
it.
piles,
The beat up
you want to
mail.
make sure your package is wrapped well.
Yeah, that poor box. We're basically, it was the story was just holiday tips and tricks, like make sure you send your mail early, make sure your labels are all attached, and they had like a pile of mail that was like we don't know where this is going, or like it's broken, and that one clearly, that box was not
Wrapped well.
handled with care or something. It got smooshed, which happens. It happens. So you can't blame him for that.
Exactly like
This one would have been another ski report. Committed a felony, touching other people's mail. Is that how that works? I guess so. I guess technically she was touching mail. Yeah, this was another ski report. We were just we were in the ski shop talking about getting skis tuned, like edges and stuff.
like a crock pot where you could just set it, or in this case, get it and forget it. You got to give them a little bit of love in the beginning of the season, not only for performance, but also for your safety.
Firefighters.
All right, so this one, crazy story. It didn't happen on this road. We just needed a guardrail that we could see. And basically this dude, he, I'm going to pause it right there. There we go. So what had happened is a guy was driving in his car, and he bumped into a tractor trailer, or the way he just they met, the two collided together. Obviously, you never say that you're at fault. The two vehicles came together, and the tractor trailer ended up rolling over on top of his car, but landed, like the trailer part landed on the guardrail, preventing it from completely crushing his car. So he ended up, I guess it's crazy how he described it. He was driving, got stuck to the tractor trailer, and as they're sliding towards the guardrail, he had a knife in the center console, pulled out the knife, cut the seat belt, slid over into the passenger seat as like the roof's getting crushed, and then eventually came to a rest at the guardrail. And when the driver popped out, he was like, oh my God, like this dude, he definitely is squished under there. He came over to the passenger side, and the dude was just like curled up in the passenger seat, like totally fine. I mean, a couple scrapes and whatnot, because that happens. And this was just a quick stand-up to just explain that.
But also for your safety.
Firefighters tell me he was literally within inches of his life. 6 inches of that semi-truck landed on the guardrail on 787, creating a tiny safe space within Jelani's car.
Yeah. So there you go. That was the stand-ups section. And the rest of this, just a bunch of drone photography. We're lucky enough at the station to have a drone, which is pretty sweet. All licensed. We're all FAA licensed pilots. There's so many rules we have to follow, a lot of checklists we got to go through. So this is just a sampling of that. We'll see if I can remember any of these. This looks like would have been where it's clearly there used to be a dam here. This was probably down in what's it called? Castleton on Hudson, or it was on the Hudson River near Hudson. I just can't remember exactly which town. We were trying to get shots of the fall leaves, but the leaves hadn't turned yet. I remember that. This was a bike event, like one of those charity bike rides that ended at this school. I forget what they were raising money for, though. Bowling alley fire, so you can see how bad it really was. And yeah, you can see the smoke for miles. Clearly, yeah, you can see that from Albany. This is near Peoples Island in Waterford. Church of the Immaculate Conception in Albany. I love this shot. So this one of the rules for drones, if you don't know, is that you can't fly over a moving vehicle. Right? You can't fly over a moving vehicle. So you can fly over a parked vehicle, but not a moving vehicle. because it would count as a traffic, like a car crash if anything happened, and yeah, you just can't do it. So I'm flying, and my camera person / spotter is standing on the side. We flew from this parking lot. He was standing like next to the road, and we had to get the drone across the street. We basically like a pedestrian, except we're a couple. We're like 100 feet in the air. He's looking both ways, and he's like, "Okay, you're cleared across." And I flew across, and like we had to set everything up, and then like wait for traffic to go away again to fly across. And it worked out great because you can totally fly over buildings. You just can't fly over people or moving cars. So, fun fact. Yeah, we had to wait for traffic, which you think like, why would you have to wait for traffic? You're flying, but you do. You can't fly over a moving car. If you ever see a drone operator fly over a moving car, wait for them to land and then punch them in the face. Respectfully. Because nobody knows what the rules are. Yeah, this shot. Love it. And then, roll across on the tower. You got the Empire Plaza in the background. You can see the capital of... you can't. My webcam's anyway. It starts to peek over in the side here. New York State Capitol. But yeah, that was a super fun flight because, like, how often are you going to get a chance to fly through the towers of a cathedral? This would have been for Easter. And then obviously Captain JP wants to come to Regency. There's way less ice at this point. Was just stuck on that bridge. I think that was the problem. It got stuck on the part that doesn't move. Because this bridge definitely, there is a part of it that swings, but it clearly missed that. And yeah, all the other barges were down, like way down river at this point. And then this last one. So another thing you can't do with a drone is fly at night without very specific waivers. So we were lucky enough to finally get a night waiver to fly in Class G airspace. So what that means is if you know airspace at all, there's all sorts of different kinds. Obviously, different airports have different kinds of airspace. In our area, Albany International is a Class C airspace. At various altitudes. Obviously, within 5 miles of the airport, the Class C comes to the ground. Thankfully, this spot over by the river, actually in Albany, the airport is far enough north that we were 7 miles southeast of Albany International at this point. So we're in Class G airspace up to 700 feet. We can only fly to 400. You got to know your charts if you're going to fly a drone. You got to know your airspace. So we're in Class G airspace. We were over the river, which is great because if you're over the river, you don't have to worry about people. And we had a night waiver to fly in Class G airspace with appropriate warning lighting. So if you're flying a drone at night or in civil twilight, which is 30 minutes after sunset and before sunrise, that's civil twilight, you need flashing indicators. You don't need a night waiver to fly in civil twilight, but you do need the lights. So obviously the sun is going down in this shot, you can tell. So we're still alive. Yeah, we've just been going through this demo reel. Welcome. Yeah, so we had our night waiver, which was cool because we can fly in the Class G airspace. We figured we'd go down to Albany at sunset, and this is the shot we got. So that the lighting you need to have flashing 3-mile visibility lighting on all 4 sides of your drone. So you can see it, like you'll see it sometimes at the top of the frame. There's a little flash. That's the warning lighting. So we had the insurance. We had to take a little test to fly at night. Probably driving, yeah. So yeah, I want to just go through that really quick because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you fly a drone at night, you're breaking the law. Well, you would if you did it, but we went through a lot of things. He do be spamming though, it's true. So yeah, this was Albany. Same spot where the boat crashed actually. And this spot, obviously this is way darker. This would have been like at night. And you can't see it very well, but right over here, that's our car. That's where we were parked. I think that's the last shot. Yeah. So that's dang, that's my reel. That's what I do for work. Now you know. Now you know. Bree Walsh, you're late to the party. You are late to the party. And that's okay. How are you doing? Oh, big stretch. It's still morning. I'm still waking up. How are you doing? If you know, you know. It's true. Yeah. When I first read your message, I thought you wrote, "You're still alive," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm still alive." I mean, I didn't. What are you talking about? Silly. Huh? Yeah, we're still alive. We're going through my my demo reel for news, and trying to see if I could remember every single story in there. And JKB can attest that I think I did pretty well, considering how old some of that stuff was. He do be spamming, though. Not so much this time. He's been quiet. The merch is here. People buy this merch. I got told yesterday that my logo is super clean. So if that's a selling point for you, go buy the cleanest logo on Twitch. 8 out of 10, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take an 8 out of 10. We're going to end with a song. 70% vibing. There you go. Vibe checks all around. It's important. I'm glad you remembered the vibe check command. Very important. 70 is pretty good. I had vibe checked on a stream last night, and I got 3%, and I was pretty upset. Let's see what I'm doing here. 30? Oh, man. It's not great. Let's get a vibe check for me. 80. Let's go. 80. That's pretty sweet. Sorry you're 30% vibing. Dang. So we playing Minecraft after this, or are we driving trains? What's the deal today? What are we doing today? I will be streaming again at 8 to make up for missing yesterday. So you can look forward to that. I'm going to play this song because I'm really into this song right now, and then we'll wrap it up. Laundry. Get brakes changed in the car. Hey, you do you, man. Get those chores done. I need to, like, fold laundry. But yeah, come back at 8. Or just blast this in a restaurant. Yeah, get your brakes fixed. People, brakes are important. My work car just went in, right? It started shaking a little bit. Since we're talking about work, this is perfect. We were talking about, what I do for work, part of what I do for work is drive all the time, and my car, it started shaking a little bit. It went in. It needed, it needed an oil change anyways, but it ended up needing tires, a bearing or two, and a control arm. So it was pretty broken. What are the odds, right? What are the odds that it needed an oil change anyways, and then it ended up being pretty bad. So it's been out for 2 weeks. My work car, has been out for 2 weeks getting fixed, because I guess the place we bring all our work cars has like one mechanic apparently, and they do like all the police cars for Schenectady. They do some of the fire vehicles, not like the trucks, but like the small ones. And they were super backed up. So been waiting on that car. I guess it's finally done now. So I'll get my car back. One song and then we'll send it. We'll send everybody on their way. Go do your chores. September, right in the mess that I had. It wasn't me that you wanted, fixed on a thought and so sad. Tears don't dry up in the rain. They fall from your cheeks and they run down your frame. 1st of September showed me how cruel I can be. If only I could read. That old week, getting mad at the man you believe. And you didn't tell me that smile was loaded with worries and been with denial. And we sang, let's use one another. And I can't remember that night. I just draw a blank when I try and not to. I love picking flowers and dancing with moons, but I hate what I did to you. When you can't say it meant nothing at all, 'cause I saw the lights and all the lights were turned low, made a wilderness call. It's not your fault. Yeah, German guy. It's not your fault. Good to my mother to tell you I know how to be. And I used to be young and I sang about shit I believed. And I try my best not to lie. I help when I can, and I know wrong from right. I'm good to my mother, friends can attest to my light. I took advantage, promised you things that I fight. Not who I was at the time. I hate what I've done, and I don't sleep well at night. We sang, let's use one another. And I can't remember that night. I just draw a blank when I try and I do. I love picking flowers and dancing with moons. I hate what I did to you. And you can say meant nothing at all, 'cause I saw the lights and all the lights would turn low in a wilderness cold. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Oh, as we sang, let's use one another. Oh, and we sang, try to believe everything, 'cause you knew what I wanted to hear. And you knew what I wanted to hear. And I knew what you wanted to hear. Oh, what you wanted to hear. So now I get wasted and yell at the moon, 'cause I hate what I did to you. That song live is something else. Oh. Thanks for showing up, people. Thanks for showing up, friends, enemies, anyone who showed up. I'll be live again at 8 p.m. since I missed yesterday. Thanks for hanging out. Always a good time. It's a long stream, almost coming up on an hour 40 minutes. Crazy. Hopefully you learned something. If you showed up late, Bree Walsh, and you want to see it again, obviously you can see that down below or on YouTube. Which side's it on? This side. YouTube. There it is. Happening now. Music on YouTube. Go check that out. It's a little loud. I always get this music wrong. I don't want it to be so loud that I'm drowned out. Yeah, that German guy, who knows where he is. But yeah, we'll be back then. Obviously, follow along on the social media in the meantime. Have a good Saturday. You know, get some chores done. I don't know if the weather's any good. Get outside. It's getting cold, so getting fewer and fewer times we can do that. I'll see you guys later.